Evans, it's been some summer. Have you managed to have a break?
Yeah, I got 7 or 8 days away. I didn't see any staff, but in those 7 or 8 days, people know me. Then I was in daily calls and WhatsApp videos and that. We're chairman and we're Leon Hunter, and we've worked all the way through, but hopefully it's for the right reasons come the season.
I mean, you have been busy this summer, which you had to be after sort of promotion and then the squad getting thinned out.
Yeah, we had promotion, and the first thing you have to do is make a judgment call really on whether we think players can step up and play at the higher level. It's fair to say I have a good understanding of the difference of 1 and 2 in the championship. So we had to make some tough decisions, some really tough decisions, move some players on, allow some players to go, and the fact that probably how we described our offers to them wasn't where they were looking at. And I get that. But we had to make a decision for the football club. We only have one interest, which is improving, because if we don't improve, we'll get caught out.
And I think you have improved. You've certainly caught the eye of 1 or 2 people who are watchers of League One with your signings. You must be delighted with the way it's gone.
Yeah, we're pleased. We've our recruitment has been from day one very targeted. Myself and Leon working very hard to come up with the names and allowing our chairman to be involved with Leon in the numbers, because I don't do that. But we've made some good signings. We're very, very clear that we're in the middle of the jigsaw puzzle. We're a long way from home. Different jigsaw to what we've seen at Wimbledon yesterday, may I add, with the protesters. But now our jigsaw is very much as it did last season, where we're 4 or 5 days into our pre-season programme, and our job is to develop the squad to where we need it to be for the opening day of the season, not necessarily for St. Neots on Saturday.
In terms of your list of the players you've gone out and got, have you got pretty much everyone you tried to, or was there 1 or 2 slipped away?
No, we've lost a couple. Financially, we understand where we are in this league. We're not blind to that, if you like. We have a good budget for me in terms of where the chairman's taken it from, and 2, he can't do any more. But there's always limitations as to what we have in our dressing room. We almost have a capping limit where we're going. My instruction and my way of working is we won't break that. We don't want to break it. We've got a fantastic dressing room. We're adding it to it very carefully, both obviously ability, what they can do on the pitch, and then our homework checks have been meticulous so far. And we've actually walked away from one on the basis of the homework checks when we go and ask them about character and how they are and that. We've actually decided not to pursue that one. So we're very fixed on who we want, and then we have to do the finances, get Leon and the chairman, get them over the line, and then I'll do my homework on how they are as people.
You've signed a lot of experience as well. Was that something that was key in your planning?
Yeah, I think what was key is we brought some players into the building who had a good understanding of League One, and if not higher. So I think we're on the lookout for MD with the name of Thompson. If we can find a Thompson, we'll sign him. And I actually made an inquiry the other day about another Thompson. I can't do this. I can't do it just to the media. I can't do it to the fans. And but no, I think it was, when you bring players like the brothers Nathan and Louis into the building, it brings experience, it brings good quality. And Ben Thompson is at the top of that list. The kid is absolutely everything. And but there's other players that we've signed as well who are going to play big parts for us. And we're trying to desperately add to that list now. But we only sign players, but like I said last summer, it just can't be any player. It needs to be the right players and fit our model.
I mean, you mentioned Louis Thompson there. I've saw a lot and I've heard a lot from fans of like Norwich and Portsmouth said he's a wonderful player, but maybe he's got his injury problems. You must be happy that.
Well, yeah, I think he's managed so far. I'm touching wood when I say it, but he shook them off. He got a break very early in the season, last season. Come back and get in the team and did really well. He's a really good player. We need to get him a little bit sharper, a little bit fitter, and that means sharpness, not they're all fit, but a little bit sharper. That'll come with the pre-season programme. But he's a really good footballer, and his brother is, for me, an exceptional footballer that we're delighted to get.
You brought in 1 or 2. There's still 1 or 2 gaps. One position in particular as left back, and because of what he did here last year, Saxon Early's name getting bandied around. I'm sure there's interest on your half. is it a goer or not?
No, I think Saxon's a Plymouth player, isn't he? And he's you got to give Shu the chance of looking at all his squad in pre-season, but he's going to be on our list, isn't he? We know the kid really well. He knows us. Is something sitting there today? No. But my brother-in-law Tom Scott, every time I speak to him, which is every day, he keeps saying to me, "Where's your left back? Where's your left back?" And I sign a player and I go, "It's just a left back," and it's. But there is one in for medical today just after lunch, so. Terms have been agreed with that, so we'll see where that goes. But we won't stop there. We're trying to do a number of positions, a number of key positions for us, both good players and both competition.
I know we've talked about the players coming in. There's one or two that have stayed, and I'm thinking of the likes of Luther and TVC, and then obviously getting Tay back on a permanent deal. That must have been a delight for you.
Yeah, well, we all thought Tay was going somewhere else, didn't we? I thought that. I think Tay's probably described it in his interviews with our media team. He asked to meet me, and I met him. And an hour and a half later, he said, "No, I want to re-sign. I want to come here and be permanent." So, in all summer, I thought that Van Kooten and Wilden would be in new pastures, but I think the boys knew by my pester power. I don't think they had to get a day where they didn't get a WhatsApp, and certainly in Terence Van Kooten's case, he was in the hotel next door to me in Dubai, so it was very easy to stroll across and wave. But no, we're delighted. They were two big players for us last year, and there'll be two big players going this year. So we're delighted with who we've kept. We've delighted who we've added, and we need to selectively continue that progress.
I mean, heard from Phil Wallace at the fans forum earlier on in the summer, and he was saying that would backstop it towards the end of the window with loan deals. Is that a problem for you? Because obviously the end of the window is not the end of August, so you're well into the season by that point.
Well, if we look at our recruitment last year, we brought in the likes of Alex Gilby late. We brought in Kasky late. They're exceptional players. There'll always be an opportunity to bring players into the football club on loan because we'll still have resources at that stage to use. We have a plan. This ain't of who comes available. We know what players are going to become available at what stage of pre-season, because some managers, the higher you go, they have to field teams to play a number of pre-season games, whether it's the first 11 or it's a second 11, and they'll keep them around for 2 or 3 weeks into pre-season. But we're well aware of who they are and where they are, and we've got our eyes on one or two of them. And the chairman's quite right to point out that we need to be sitting there with gaps in our squad and gaps in our funding levels to be able to afford them.
One thing that came up from the fans forum from Phil was he said, I don't know if we'll be able to sign anyone with money. And then you've just gone and done that. Was that something to do with maybe Danny Rose's departure and the cash he got from there?
No, the cheating. I mean, I made representation on Ben Thompson months ago. We tried to take the kid last summer. We tried to take him in January. And our chairman said, if we're in League One still, we'll try and do something. We'll try and get him in the door. The Danny Rose thing was completely different. Danny's got involved in a beautiful relationship with a young lady, and this was turn of the year, so it was. And Rosie was staying down here 4 or 5 nights a week in Stevenage, a long way from home, long way from his girlfriend. And he come and asked me in January, and I almost told him where to go and get out of the office. But I did promise him we have a fantastic relationship, and I did promise him that I'd get him a move back to the north, and he would be going to a good club because there were several who'd asked me about him. And he's joined a really good club in Grimsby Town, and I'm sure Paul and Danny have a good season. But no, the money wasn't related, For all intents and purposes, I think I've still got that money, Chairman, to spend. He'll be calling me now.
He'll be worried. One thing you said, I remember you saying last year, was after a week or so of pre-season training, you thought on paper we've got a good group, but when you saw them together, you thought something special. Is that the same feeling you've got this year?
Yeah, same. You go about a training ground and a campus. I speak to the ground staff. They're the salt of the earth. They tell me whether we've got good lads or not. They see the players coming in. They see how they speak to them. Down to the stadium, how they just mix in with everyone. And it's the same. But we worked really hard to get that last year. And people, like people at Piagiani and Sweeney and Roberts, they'll soon tell you if there's something not mixing or something not quite right for them. have that feeling. And certainly there is no doubt that we are stronger than last year. There is no doubt whatsoever we are already stronger. And we still got 6 or 7 players to add to the squad. We're sitting here with 16 players. We're going to run with 22, maybe 23, 21, that kind of number. So we're still working incredibly hard to do it. As I said, we have a left back that agreed terms, or his representatives agreed terms with Leon late last night after I spent 2.5 hours boring the ears off him yesterday afternoon. So, and to the point that during the meeting, the kid said, listen, if we can talk the other bits, so I desperately want to come. He knows 3 or 4 of the players, so that helps.
Where did the youngsters fit in? You had a couple of them in towards the end of last season. Are they going to be in and around, or are you talking with Jordan about loan deals for them in that?
Yeah, they may mature into going to play men's football every week of the season if we get empowered who we like. But, the ones that we identify, young Riley's already been with us every day, the goalkeeper. So he'll be with around us, and young McKees and young Theo, they'll be involved in pre-season games, as people like young Owen will be, and there's probably 2 or 3 others until we build the squad up. And then anyone who shines, I think we showed last season in minutes of trying to get promotions. It doesn't matter to me whether you're out in nappies and your name's McKees Evans or whether you're someday at 35. It doesn't matter to me that if you're good enough, you should play. And we want young players through our academy. It's absolutely essential that if you're Stevenage Football Club, that homegrown talent comes through, because it creates even more unity in your town. So they'll be involved with us over the next few weeks for sure. And their supporters will see them making football minutes in some of the pre-season games.
Which starts on Saturday at St. Neots. You're just happy to get going again.
Yeah, I think you just get going. I think just get some minutes under the belts of some. The boys have been running incredibly hard. We'll go through Friday's training session, and then anyone who's feeling any niggles will be at St. Neots, but they won't get any minutes. And we're going to have 2 or 3. We've got 1 or 2 now that when you work them as hard as we're having to work them, or we always work them. No different. I can remember going to last pre-season, going to Hitchin Town, and we had like several behind it or on the bench, but not stripped to play, if that makes sense, because they weren't quite ready. So it'll be 0 risk, but we'll still be strong. I'm looking forward to it. St. Neots is a good football club that goes back in my career, 20 years as a manager playing against them. We've been up and looked at the pitch. It's really nice, and we'll do that with Hitchin, and we'll do it with Stamford. We'll all make sure that where our players, where we put them on the grass, it's good to go. So we're looking forward to Saturday. Just get back playing, and then we'll get the first 3 or 4 games out of the way. And probably when we host Ipswich here, we'll need to be semi-serious, or we'll get a pasting. Speaking to their gaffer this morning, we'll get a pasting. They look incredibly strong for the Championship. And then we're off to St George's, and we'll be playing a Nottingham Forest 11, a strong 11 there. So, and then back to playing a Spurs 11 and speaking to people about Tottenham. That might be stronger than we think, because I think they come back from their overseas trip 2 days before. So it'll be Big Ange, who's a favourite of mine, Celtic manager, favourite of mine, not so favourite when he left, but a huge favourite in it. And I know what he's like from peeping to the people up at Celtic. The coaching staff that's left up there said he wants his players to get minutes on the pitch, so we might get some of the stars.